Ladies, stop crying over a man who chose to leave. This is not the end of your story. This is just the beginning of your transformation. You want him to come back? Oh, he will. But not because you begged, not because you broke. He'll come crawling back the moment he sees what you've become. And trust me, he will. But only if you do this. Disappear with dignity. 3 words that sound so simple, but carry the power to shatter egos, rebuild self-worth, and trigger regret like nothing else. You see, in a world where everyone is loud, reactive, and constantly trying to prove something, your silence becomes sacred. It's not weakness, it's the ultimate strength. Disappearing doesn't mean running away, it means elevating above the noise. When someone chooses to walk out of your life, don't stand at the door crying, asking them why. Don't post quotes, don't stalk their socials, and for God's sake, don't text them paragraphs they'll screenshot and laugh at. Instead, walk away with elegance, with grace, and with power. Have you ever seen a queen chase a man? No, a queen doesn't chase, she rises, and when she disappears, the whole kingdom feels the absence. Imagine this. A girl in college got ghosted by her boyfriend of 2 years. Instead of begging or explaining her worth, she went quiet. She blocked him, focused on her studies, lost 10 kgs, got into her dream internship, and started glowing like a goddess. 1 year later, he saw her at a mutual event, and all he could do was stare. Why? Because her silence rewrote her value. Her glow screamed, "You never broke me. You built me." That's the kind of silence I'm talking about, the kind that speaks louder than any revenge plan ever could. Another woman, a single mom, was left by her partner when she needed him the most, but instead of collapsing, she disappeared. No drama, no social media pity posts. She worked 2 jobs, put her kid through school, built a home from scratch, and started her own business. 2 years later, that same man wanted back in, not because he suddenly loved her, but because she became what he never believed she could. She didn't need revenge, she had results. Disappearing with dignity means understanding your value even when others don't. It means saying, "I don't need you to see my worth for it to exist." When you disappear, you're not abandoning anyone. You're returning to yourself. You want to shake someone's soul? Don't shout. Don't post. Don't rant to mutual friends. Just vanish. Focus. Reinvent. Let your silence become a mirror to the one who left. Because nothing haunts someone more than the peace of the person they once thought couldn't live without them. You don't have to announce your comeback. Let the results do the talking, the glow up, the success, the unbothered energy. The day you stop explaining yourself is the day people start wondering what made you so unshakable. You become dangerous when your peace can't be disturbed, when your value no longer needs an audience, when your love is no longer available on discount. Disappear with dignity, not to hurt them, but to heal yourself. Even nature teaches this. Think of the moon. It disappears every month, quietly, and when it returns, it lights up the whole damn sky. That's the kind of energy you need. No announcement, no tears, just growth. Let them feel the absence, let them wonder, let them regret. Because one day, when they scroll through their feed, or walk into a room, or hear your name, they won't remember the girl who begged. They'll remember the woman who walked away and never looked back. Work on your glow up. And I don't just mean putting on highlighter or getting a new haircut. I mean rebuilding yourself so unapologetically that your past doesn't even recognize you. It's about lighting up from the inside out, becoming so magnetic that people can't help but stop and stare, wondering what happened to her, what happened. She stopped waiting for someone to love her and started loving herself like never before. Your glow up is not for him. It's not to prove anything to anyone. It's for you, because you finally realize that being broken is not your identity. That heartbreak was not your home. That rejection, it was just redirection. And the moment you realize that, boom, the glow begins. Take a woman who went through a breakup after 5 years. She gave everything to that man. Time, love, dreams, loyalty. And when he left, it almost destroyed her. But instead of drowning in that pain, she used it like fuel. She signed up for therapy, hit the gym, learned a new language, started dressing like the woman she always imagined. Her skin started glowing, her energy shifted, her presence became powerful. A few months later, that same man slid back into her DMs like nothing happened. But guess what? She wasn't even tempted to reply, because by then she wasn't the same woman. She'd leveled up. She glowed up. The glow up is real. It's not overnight, but it's unstoppable when it starts. And no, it's not just about looks. It's about energy, your aura, your mindset. When your soul heals, your face shines. When your heart forgives, your walk changes. When your focus shifts, your whole vibe becomes dangerous. Not because you're trying to hurt anyone, but because nothing can shake you anymore. Another example, there was a girl who got cheated on during her engagement. Everyone expected her to fall apart, to go into hiding. But what did she do? She got a personal trainer, started modeling, launched her own skincare brand, and used her story as a platform to empower women across the globe. What's that called? That's not revenge. That's rebirth. That's the glow up. And sometimes, the glow-up is quiet. A single mom working 3 jobs who starts taking online courses every night after putting her child to sleep. Slowly she gets promoted, she gets her own car, then a house, her hair's tied up, no makeup, but her glow, it's in her strength. It's in her refusal to give up. That's the kind of glow the world can't dim. Your glow-up is your weapon. When you glow, you become unforgettable. Not because you've changed for someone else, but because you've finally stepped into the woman you were always meant to be. People will start to treat you differently, not because they've changed, but because you did. And your new standard doesn't allow access to what broke you. Working on your glow-up means setting boundaries, not settling. It means feeding your soul, not begging for crumbs. It means getting dressed for you, eating clean for you, showing up as a queen even when no one's watching. Because one day they'll see you, maybe in a cafe, maybe at an event, maybe through a screen, and their jaw will drop. Not just because you look good, but because your energy is undeniable. The confidence in your eyes, the softness in your smile, the fire in your silence. And they'll ask themselves the question that always comes too late. How did I lose her? But you won't even notice them, because your glow will be focused on the future, on your peace, on your purpose, and that is the most powerful glow of all. Date yourself first. Before you give your time, your energy, your body, your dreams to anyone else, give them to you. Because if you don't know how to love yourself, spoil yourself, take yourself out, understand your own moods and madness, then you'll always be looking for someone else to complete what was never missing. This isn't just about bubble baths and flowers. This is about becoming so emotionally self-sufficient that when someone enters your life, they're not filling a void. They're just adding light to a room that already shines. You don't need someone to rescue you. You need someone who respects how far you've come without them. Think of that girl who's always rushing into relationships. Every time she breaks up, she jumps into the next one, hoping the pain fades, but the cycle never ends. Why? Because she never sat with herself, never asked, what do I want when no one's watching? Then one day she stopped chasing love and started chasing herself. She traveled solo, sat in a coffee shop alone without checking her phone, went to therapy, discovered she loves jazz music and hates sushi. She started dating herself, and for the first time, she didn't feel lonely. She felt whole. You become unstoppable when you fall in love with your solitude, when you dress up for yourself and not for the stares, when you take yourself to the movies, laugh at your own jokes, dance around your room in the middle of the night with a glass of wine and your favorite playlist. That's not crazy. That's liberation. Another story. A woman went through a divorce after 12 years. She was devastated. She forgot who she was outside of that marriage. But instead of spiraling, she picked herself up. She made a list of 50 things she always wanted to do but never did. Skydiving, salsa classes, writing poetry, hosting dinners. She did it all alone. And in the process, she became her own best friend, her own biggest fan. She learned how to turn loneliness into freedom. Dating yourself means checking in with your emotions. It means asking yourself, am I happy today? It means saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that scare you. It means lighting candles at night even when it's just you. Cooking a meal with love, plating it like you're on MasterChef even if no one sees it but you, because you matter. You are worth the effort. So many people walk around half alive because they're waiting for someone to show them love. But what if you were that person? What if the greatest love story of your life started the moment you looked in the mirror and said, I choose you? You stop attracting people who don't value you when you start valuing yourself. You stop chasing attention when you give yourself attention. You stop needing closure when you realize you were never the problem. You just forgot how to prioritize your soul. There's a woman who takes herself on a date every Sunday. She wears her best outfit, books a table at a fancy place, orders dessert first, reads a book, sips her wine and smiles. People stare. Some pity her. But she doesn't care. Because that woman, she's in love. With her peace. With her And that's the secret. When you date yourself first, you set the standard. You raise the bar so high that no one dares to give you half love, half effort, half truth. They'll either come correct or not at all. Because the one person who will never abandon you, never lie to you, never betray you, is the version of you that shows up even when the whole world disappears. Don't try to prove your worth, because the moment you start explaining your value, you've already given someone the power to question it. You don't need to audition for love, beg for attention, or shrink yourself just to be accepted by someone who couldn't see your brilliance in the first place. You are not a product to be sold, you are a soul to be experienced. There's a woman out there who spent years trying to make a man love her. She dressed how he liked, she silenced her opinions, she bent over backward, constantly proving she was the one. But every time she gave more, he valued her less. Because desperation doesn't create desire, silence doesn't earn respect. And love isn't something you earn, it's something you receive when you're being authentically you. One day she woke up and realized, why am I trying so hard to convince someone to love me when I can't even recognize the woman I've become? That was the shift. She stopped explaining, stopped chasing, and guess what? That's when her energy became rare, magnetic, unshakable. You don't prove your worth by overgiving. You prove it by knowing when to walk away. By saying, if you don't see my value, I'm not going to lower myself to show it to you. I'll just rise so high that you'll realize what you lost when it's already too late. It's like a luxury item in a store. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't go on sale. It simply exists. And those who recognize its value pay full price. That's you. You're not for everyone. And that's your superpower. The more you try to be chosen, the more you forget you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. Take another example. A girl gets ghosted after pouring her heart out. She wants to send one last message, one last text to prove how good she was. But instead, she pauses. She reminds herself, if they couldn't see my heart the first time, no amount of explaining will make them understand now. So she holds her silence. And that silence? It echoes louder than any words ever could. That's when they come back. Curious, confused, but by then she's already healed, already glowing, already unavailable to what broke her. Stop explaining your intentions to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop trying to be enough for someone who's not enough for you. Stop overthinking every message, every action, every silence. As if your worth depends on someone else's recognition. It doesn't. You are not a mirror reflecting their approval. You are a sun that shines even when no one's watching. There's a young woman who always felt invisible, in relationships, at work, even at home. Until one day, she stopped trying to be seen and started seeing herself. She stopped dressing for compliments and started dressing for confidence. She stopped waiting for a seat at someone else's table and built her own. And now, they all want to sit with her. But she's not chasing anymore. She's choosing, carefully, powerfully. And that's the shift. From proving your worth to knowing it. From please choose me to I choose myself. When you stop fighting for a place in someone's life, you make space for someone who never makes you question your place in theirs. When you stop trying to convince others you're lovable, you realize you've always been enough. The woman who doesn't try to prove herself, she walks differently, talks differently, lives differently. Because she's no longer trying to deserve love. She's ready to receive it. Not by force, not by fear, but by being so true to herself that only the real ones can find her.
Be unavailable to him fully. Not half-heartedly, not by pretending, not by posting stories to make him miss you while secretly hoping he replies. No, be truly unavailable. Emotionally, mentally, energetically. Remove access, shut the door gently but firmly. Because the most powerful form of self-respect is not blocking someone, it's outgrowing them. Think about this, you were always there for him. Texted back in seconds. Answered calls at midnight. It made time even when you were exhausted. You were his emotional comfort zone while he gave you confusion in return. And now? Now it's time to change the script. You don't need to make him jealous. You need to make yourself unavailable to what drained you. There's a woman who used to break her own heart to keep the illusion of love alive. Every time he pulled away, she ran closer. Every time he got bored, she tried harder. Until one day she stopped. Not with anger. Not with revenge, just with calm clarity. She removed her energy, her attention, her softness. She made herself unavailable. And suddenly he noticed. But it was too late. Because she wasn't playing a game, she was done being a pawn. You see, when you're constantly available to someone who's inconsistent, you teach them that they don't need to value you because you'll always be there. But when you disappear into your peace, your growth, your glow, they feel the emptiness of your absence. That's not manipulation. That's what happens when someone loses access to the woman who used to light up their world. There's a powerful silence that comes from choosing yourself. When you stop over-explaining. When you don't reply with paragraphs. When you no longer need closure, because your peace is the closure. A girl once deleted his number. Not out of spite, but because she realized if she keeps the door even slightly open, he'll keep walking in with muddy shoes. So she locked it and built a garden on the other side. She didn't need to tell him. Her absence spoke louder than her presence ever could. Being unavailable means you're not checking your phone every hour, you're not pausing your life to analyze his actions. You're busy with your healing, with your passion, with becoming so whole that no man becomes your definition. It means you're not waiting for a text you're booked. You're evolving, you're investing that energy into the woman he couldn't appreciate until she left. You don't heal by staying connected to what broke you. You heal by choosing yourself so fiercely that your ex becomes irrelevant in the story of your comeback. One woman turned off her notifications for him and turned on notifications for her own goals. She stopped showing up in his life and started showing up in the gym, in her business, in her own mind. And suddenly the power shifted. Not because she punished him, but because she prioritized herself. Being unavailable is not about bitterness, it's about boundaries. It's not about pretending you don't care, it's about actually realizing you deserve more. It's the woman who walks away without slamming the door. The one who doesn't need to curse him out. She just stops showing up where she's not respected, and that absence, it haunts him more than any angry message ever could. Because the moment you make yourself fully unavailable to someone who took you for granted is the moment they start to understand the value of your presence. You become the one that got away, not because you were hard to get, but because you finally realized you were too valuable to wait around for someone to see your worth. Let his ego starve. Not with bitterness, but with brilliance, because sometimes silence is the only language a fragile ego understands. The kind of silence that doesn't scream, doesn't post, doesn't beg, it just withdraws. Gently, powerfully, unapologetically. He was used to your attention like oxygen. Every good morning text. Every "are you okay?" when he went silent. Every time you cracked open your heart just so he'd feel loved even when he didn't deserve it. You gave him the spotlight, the comfort, the emotional security. And in return he gave you confusion, inconsistency, and crumbs. But here's the secret: when you stop feeding a man's ego, you start feeding your own soul. There was a girl who kept checking his social media, waiting for signs. She'd post stories hoping he'd watch. She'd keep showing up in his world just enough to be noticed, not enough to be loved. And one day she said, "Why am I keeping him emotionally full while I'm starving for the bare minimum?" That moment changed everything. She went cold not because she hated him, but because she loved herself more. You see, when you stop reacting to his ego games, it drives him mad. Because men like that aren't addicted to you, they're addicted to your attention. They thrive on knowing you're still there, still watching, still waiting. But the moment he opens that message and sees no reply, watches your story and sees no trace of pain, that's when he feels the hunger. His ego starts gasping for the validation it once fed on daily. Another woman, successful, confident, radiant, kept going back to a man who breadcrumbed her. Every time she pulled away, he dropped just enough affection to pull her back in. Like clockwork. But one day she didn't respond. No tears. No paragraphs, just presence in her own life. She got busy becoming the woman she'd neglected while chasing his half-love. That's when he panicked. That's when he came crawling. Because the ego, when starved, wouldn't treat you on your peace. But she wasn't serving it anymore. Starving his ego means you stop answering his low-effort texts. Why? Doesn't get a reply from a queen. The first miss you doesn't melt a heart that remembers how much it cried. You stop rewarding inconsistency with your loyalty. Stop giving energy to what drains you. You stop playing therapist, caretaker, backup plan. You become so emotionally unavailable to his games that he starts to feel invisible in your world the same way he made you feel in his. It's like this. Imagine you were the spotlight, the applause, the crowd. He was just the act. But he got used to your light. And then you switched it off. Now the stage is quiet, empty. He's still performing, but no one's watching. That's what it feels like when you stop feeding his ego. He's still trying to be the main character, but you're no longer in the audience. When his ego is hungry, it will try every trick. The random hey, the accidental call. The I've been thinking about you. But you're wiser now. Because you've learned that love isn't real if it only shows up when it's lonely. True love doesn't compete with pride. And real connection doesn't need to be fed with constant validation. There's a girl who deleted every photo, not out of spite, but out of freedom. She unfollowed, muted, detached not to hurt him, but to heal herself. She let his ego text the void. Let him wonder. Let him scroll and not find her. Because sometimes the loudest message is no message at all. His ego wanted a reaction, but your silence became the revolution. Letting his ego starve isn't about cruelty. It's about clarity. It's not a game, it's a boundary. You're no longer in the business of feeding temporary men with permanent energy. You've upgraded, you've elevated. And now, he can dine on memories because you're no longer on the menu. Change the game. Don't replay it. Because the truth is, you're not here to rewind heartbreaks, repeat patterns, or relive pain like it's your favorite sad song. You're here to rewrite the entire script. You're not the girl you were when he played you, ghosted you, or treated your love like an option. You're wiser, sharper, stronger. You don't need revenge, you need reinvention. Think about it. Every time you replay the same dynamic, you're stuck in a loop where he wins without even trying. A loop where your value is based on his attention. But once you decide to change the game, the rules no longer apply. The game he knew where you chased, over-explained, accepted less, that game is over. This new version of you, she doesn't chase, she chooses. There's a woman I know, powerful, resilient, magnetic. She used to keep falling into the same emotional cycle with a man who breadcrumbed her, texted just enough to keep her around, but never enough to commit. Every time she tried to leave, he'd reel her back in with sweet words and empty promises. But one day she stopped reacting. Not because she stopped feeling, but because she started healing. She didn't answer his I miss you text. She didn't meet him for closure. She changed the game. She blocked the pattern, not the person. You can't heal in the same place that hurt you. And you can't elevate your life by repeating yesterday's mistakes in prettier packaging. Some women go back, thinking maybe this time he'll change. But darling, if the game stays the same, the ending will always repeat. If he keeps treating your heart like a revolving door, it's time to shut it. Permanently. Changing the game means stepping into your worth like it's non-negotiable. It's not replying with long essays to defend your heart. It's not waiting by the phone for a man who forgot your value. It's not dressing up your wounds and calling it love. It's looking at your reflection and saying, I refuse to play small so someone else can feel big. There's a girl who used to accept being a second choice. The when he's bored text. The you up call. The weekend plans that never came. She'd cry, forgive, repeat. Until one day she took all that energy and invested it into herself. She traveled. She built her business. She glowed up mentally, emotionally, physically. And when he came back expecting the old game, he couldn't recognize the woman in front of him. Because she changed the arena. He wasn't ready for this level. You are not here to prove your worth to someone who lost the privilege to witness it. You're not an old game he can replay when he's lonely. You are a whole new challenge, the kind that makes a man level up or walk away. Because now you're not waiting, you're winning. Quietly, consistently, unapologetically. Every queen who's ever been broken had a moment where she looked at her pain and said, this won't be my identity, this will be my ignition. That's when she stopped playing the game. That's when she built her own. A woman like that doesn't need to beg for love. She becomes the love. And that's what terrifies him. He no longer holds the power. She does. So no, you don't replay what broke you, you rebuild, you rise, you replace desperation with direction. You stop being a player in his story and become the author of your own. Because when you change the game, you don't just shock him, you shock yourself with the woman you're becoming. And that woman, she doesn't chase closure. She creates empires. Forgive, but don't forget the lesson. Because forgiveness isn't saying what you did was okay. It's saying I'm no longer letting what you did control me. It's not about letting someone back in. It's about letting the pain out. It's about breathing again without bitterness, laughing again without flashbacks, walking again without dragging the weight of betrayal behind you. There's a woman who gave her heart to a man who didn't know how to hold it. He lied. He cheated. He disappeared when she needed him most. And for the longest time, she carried that betrayal like armor, refusing to trust, refusing to love, building walls so high even she forgot who she was on the other side. But one night she looked at herself in the mirror, tears in her eyes, and whispered, "I forgive you, not for you." For me, that was the night she chose freedom over resentment. She let go not because he deserved peace, but because she did. Forgiveness doesn't mean access. You can forgive someone and still block them, still walk away, still protect your peace. That's not being cold. That's being clear. You don't have to reopen a door just because you no longer want to burn down the house. Forgiveness is for your soul. The lesson, that's for your survival. There's another story. A girl who kept giving second chances not because she was weak, but because she believed people could change. Every apology, every tear, every late night call saying, "I'll do better this time," she believed them. Until one day she realized she wasn't healing, she was helping him avoid accountability. So she forgave him quietly, prayed for him silently, and then walked away completely. She learned the lesson: real change doesn't come in words, it comes in consistent action. And not everyone's ready to meet you at the level of love you offer. The lesson isn't just about the betrayal, it's about you. What did it teach you about your boundaries? Your self-worth, your patience, your strength, your power. Because sometimes God allows certain people to break you, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. There's wisdom in every wound if you're brave enough to look. A woman once said, "I don't hate him. I just finally love myself more." That's what true forgiveness feels like. Not a rush of emotion, not a single moment, but a journey. A quiet decision every single day to not let the past poison your present. But that doesn't mean forgetting the fire. You carry the lesson like a diamond, not to punish others, but to protect yourself. Every queen has a moment where she decides, "I'm not staying stuck in what happened. But I'll never again ignore the signs that got me there." That's called growth. That's called grace with wisdom. You'll smile again. You'll trust again. But this time your soul will come with filters. Not walls, but wisdom. Not fear, but discernment. The girl who forgave too fast, who said it's okay when it wasn't, who tried to keep the peace at the cost of her own, she's gone. In her place stands a woman who doesn't seek revenge, doesn't chase closure, doesn't need validation. She forgives so she can sleep at night, but she remembers the lesson so she never has to learn it twice. You can love someone and still walk away. You can have compassion and still choose distance. You can wish someone healing and still protect your own heart from harm. That's not cruelty. That's emotional intelligence, because you didn't go through all that pain just to end up repeating it in prettier disguises. You didn't survive to be soft for someone else's ego. You forgave to become lighter, not to stay blind. So yes, forgive. Cry it out, pray it out, breathe it out, but tattoo the lesson on your soul, because that lesson, that's your armor. That's your evolution. That's the version of you who never lets the same hand hurt her twice. And now, take a deep breath. Not because the pain is gone, but because you're finally ready to rise above it. This isn't just about getting him back, it never truly was. This is about getting you back. The real you. The you before he questioned your worth. The you before love made you doubt your power. And the you now rebuilt, reborn, unshakable. Because let me tell you something fierce and unforgettable, you don't chase what walks away. You replace it with something better, something stronger, something that matches your energy, not drains it. He will come back, yes, but by then you won't just be healed, you'll be upgraded. And when he does, he won't recognize you, not because you changed who you are, but because you finally became who you were always meant to be. You don't beg for a seat at a table you built. You don't shrink to fit into someone's idea of acceptable. You rise, you expand, you walk like the storm that you are. They didn't see your worth when you handed them your heart. That's fine. Because now you're the kind of woman who makes her absence louder than her presence ever was. You don't whisper your value anymore, you radiate it. The most powerful move a woman can make is to stop playing small for someone who doesn't even know how to love big. Let them go. Let their silence echo. Let their ego starve. And while they scroll through your glow up, wondering how they lost someone like you, you'll be too busy building empires, loving yourself louder, and being absolutely unavailable to the same pain twice. There's a quote that says, "She remembered who she was and the game changed." That's you. That's your story. You don't need to scream your comeback. Just walk in silence and let your transformation make all the noise. Be so untouchable, so self-aware, so in love with your own life, That they regret every single time they made you feel like you weren't enough. Look around. Look at you. Look at everything you've survived, the tears you never showed, the silent nights, the lonely victories, the mornings you got up when no one saw you break the night before. That's not weakness, that's warrior energy. That's queen energy. That's divine revenge, not through destruction, but through elevation. And when people ask, how did she bounce back? You tell them, I didn't bounce back, darling, I rebuilt. Brick by brick, scar by scar, soul first, spirit next, body last, you became the masterpiece. The art they overlooked now hangs in a gallery they can't afford to walk into. Never forget, you are not their loss, they are yours. Because once a woman starts dating herself, healing herself, loving herself, she becomes untouchable. Not cold, not bitter, but wise, selective, and deeply at peace. You're not the same girl who used to cry herself to sleep. You're not the one who used to overthink the texts he didn't send. You're the woman who writes her own damn love story now. And guess what? You're the main character. Not the side piece, not the placeholder, not the afterthought, the main event. Let him come back. Let him knock. Let him plead. But when he does, don't just open the door. Stand at it with grace, with power, with a soft smile that says, thank you for teaching me exactly what I deserve. Because the woman who disappears with dignity, glows up in silence, dates herself first, never proves her worth, starves his ego, changes the game, and forgives without forgetting, she becomes the storm he never saw coming. And darling, storms don't ask for permission. They arrive unapologetically, just like you.